Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So just another video about the first lien HELOC. In fact, I'm just making the same video as last time because practice makes perfect, right? And remember that Bruce Lee quote that he fears the man who does one kick 10,000 times. So our one kick for this week is just making sure that we understand that we probably might lose a lot of money by doing a first lien HELOC replacement of our mortgage, right? Been showing that for the same last three or two velocity banking videos, and I know a lot of times it's like we see something on the internet, it looks really cool, and realize, wait a minute, we could do a lot better, right? And so we're going to review this thing called velocity banking. We're going to review the first lien HELOC. And in fact, I got a first lien HELOC right now. This was me on like Friday when I got access to my first lien HELOC. I was like, oh my goodness, $280,000 in line of credit. Oh, I feel that power, right? In fact, if I scroll up, man, I relabeled my home equity line of credit. We can give it nicknames in the bank's website. I labeled it the Infinity Gauntlet, right? Because all that power that I have. All right, so we're just gonna do another velocity banking review of the first lien HELOC, what the internet is talking about, and why it may not be the best idea. You may end up losing a lot of money without any reason or needlessly, and if you're just going to go ahead and flush money down the toilet, don't give it to the bank. Just give it to me. I've always wanted to buy a new car, even though I bought homes before. Never bought a car in my life. Just been using hand-me-downs. And so, let's say that you actually flush $145,000 down the toilet, which I kind of demonstrated in the last videos. I would just prefer you give it to me so I can buy a Tesla. I don't know why keep saying Tesla. I'd probably buy a Toyota, but I just like the idea of me buying a Tesla. Anyways, so let's go ahead and get started with velocity banking. What is velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy using a line of credit as your main tool or your main operating account. And one of the things that the internet has been promoting is that you should replace this 3%, $350,000 mortgage with the 8 or 9 or 10% line of credit. And I've been showing you all that I don't know what you're all talking about. Like I got an email like, should I do this? Replace my 2 point something percent mortgage with the 9% line of credit. And again, I don't give financial advice, but I do math in spreadsheets for the internet. So we're gonna figure that out. Just kind of do the math. So we had two situations. Number one, are we going to replace the mortgage with a home equity line of credit, or are we going to do what I did, which is just pay it off quickly and then get a first lien home equity line of credit afterwards, right? And what does it make a difference? Okay, so let's just assume we have $517,000 of debt, right? So we have a budget. We have the average American income, expenses, leftover savings. We have 10 credit cards, a mortgage, and our whole goal is to get rid of all this debt, even though we're still going to have our $2,500 of general expenses. Okay? And so we're going to do something called velocity banking, and we assume that we have zero savings and all the same income. Okay? And then let's go ahead and copy and paste the expenses, right? And then what we're going to do is just have income minus expenses. And so we're going to have something called cash flow. And based on how we use our line of credit, we're trying to maximize our cash flow. So a lot of things that I've been seeing on the internet is just, well, why don't you just get a first lien HELOC refinance and replace this 3% mortgage with the 9% line of credit or home equity line of credit. And here I got like an 8.5% at $600,000, and let's say we just did a debt transfer. So if you sum up this entire home equity or all this debt, it would actually be $517,000, or at least I think it would be, right? Yeah, I think it would be. So I think it's right. So $517,000. If we just do the debt transfer, guess what happens to all of these, right? They all go to zero. Okay, and now we have $5,345.84 of cash flow. So it looks pretty good, right? And including this mortgage, my bad. And so now we have $6,821.45 of cash flow. So it looks pretty good, right? So now, since all this debt has been transferred into the line of credit, we don't have to worry about these payments. But remember, this is cash flow before the interest cost of the line of credit, so we have to include that as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do the magic. So this is I2 plus 1. This is G2, so previous month's balance plus previous month's interest minus whatever our cash flow number is, 6821.45, right? And then what we're doing is can calculate the interest because the line of credit interest is based on the average daily balance. Let's go ahead and do that. Multiply it by 0.085 divided by 12. And then we're going to copy and paste that. And let's go ahead and do that. And we'll see how long it takes us to pay off that interest. And look at that. Like, there's a lot of interest, oodles and oodles of interest, right? And we pay it off in 109 months. Okay, 109 months. We pay the whole thing off, and then we scroll all the way up. We see that in the first month we're paying about $3,600 of interest, which is, I don't think it's so bueno, right? So we take a look here. So even though we have $6,800 of cash flow before interest, that interest cost is going to suck up most of that cash flow. So let's go ahead and scroll down and sum up all the interest that we paid. So if I do sum up the data, let's just do this. Then we got to pay $221,000 of interest in 109 months. So let's go ahead and copy and paste these results. So just do that. So we'll just say result is 221K of interest and 109 months to pay it off, right? And 109 months I think is about 9 years. So 109 divided by 12, that's about 9.08 years, okay? Now, instead of getting a first lien HELOC, we could just get a second lien HELOC and do this velocity banking stuff. There's no reason for us to replace the mortgage, right? Because the mortgage is what we call an efficient debt, meaning that for this $350,000, if we pay it off, we only get $1,400 of cash flow back. Not that much cash flow, right? And I think when it comes to paying off the mortgage, velocity banking is a little bit too overemphasized in that aspect because what matters more is a debt payoff order. We want to pay off short-term loans. We want to pay off credit cards first. Then we want to pay off the somewhat semi-longer term loans like our auto student. Then we tackle on that 30-year mortgage, right? We don't do tackle on the 30-year mortgage first because it does not provide us with much cash flow as if we take off the other debts, right? So let's go ahead and imagine that we have, instead of this, let's imagine, let me go ahead and erase all this, that we have a $200,000 home equity line of credit and we don't replace the mortgage, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to assume that all we did was transfer the credit card debt, okay? And this whole credit card debt is $167,000. So let me replace that, 167,000, okay? And so now let's go ahead and redo this. So once we did the credit card debt, these all go to zero, right? And our cash flow is $5,345.84. So let's go ahead and do that. 535345.84. And then we can see in the first month that we do this, the interest is about $1,000, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. And then we see that in 36 months it's paid off. So credit cards, let me go ahead and sum this up about how much interest we paid for those credit cards. All right, so 21.5 grand in 36 months. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Whoopsie. It's without replacing our mortgage. We got a second lien HELOC, so 21.5K and 36 months to pay off credit cards, right? And then now what we can do is tackle on a mortgage, right? So what we can do is we can do this thing to pay off our mortgage called chunking, which is just chopping up the loan into pieces, right? Rule of thumb is just put, let's say, some an amount near your paycheck into the line of credit. We can use $10,000 and just pay it off, right? And so if I do this, and let's say, and actually, how many months is it? Are we at? We're at 36 months, right? So we have this loan calculator right here where we could just put 36 months and figure out what the current balance is, 327, and we paid 30 grand in interest, right? So let me just kind of go back here. Okay, so what's the current balance right now? It is 327. Now, if we just do this, let's say we go from, I don't know, 327 to 317, right? How long is it going to take us to pay off that 10 grand? Okay, so let's just do this right here. We go right here, and let me do this. And let's say we move 10 grand into here, right? So this is when the debt was actually paid off. Oh, let me do this. Okay. And then we're going to add 10 grand here, and let's see how long it takes to pay it off. 2 months, right? And so we paid off 10 grand in 2 months. So let's add 38 months to see if we just did it in the natural course of things, how much would be paid off? Oh, just 1 grand, right? So we're not, I need to do a better job of explaining this right now, but I'm really sleepy. But let's go ahead, okay? Go to 36 months. But the whole point is that we're going to rinse and repeat over and over again. So after every about 2 or 3 months, we just move a chunk of the principal into the mortgage and beat it with our cash flow. So even though we're at, let's say, an 8.5, 9% home equity line of credit, it's not going to be a big deal when we move over the principal of the mortgage into small chunks, and we can relatively pay it off quickly and not segregate our income. Okay, so now let's go ahead and actually calculate it, and we have a velocity banking calculator for this. So let me go ahead and open it up. Where is it? It's somewhere, but I'm so sleepy, can I even find it? Okay. All right. So just give me one moment. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. I think it's already filled out. Yes, it is. Okay. So I have this velocity banking calculator. Whoopsie, it's not. I went to the wrong screen. Let me try it again. All right, so I have this velocity banking calculator that if you just fill in the numbers, it'll actually tell you how long it takes to pay off the mortgage and the interest that you would pay. So if you take a look here, income expenses, and the most important thing is not the line of credit itself, is whether you have cash flow, right? And the line of credit is a tool that helps you pay off your amortized loan with your cash flow. Doesn't mean that you need it, it just makes life easier. Kind of like how in software, when one software talks to another, usually they don't connect directly. They use kind of something called a middleware, although they may connect directly, but because so many companies have um, lots of software, they'd rather just use the middleware to connect the pieces. Hopefully, if that makes sense. All right, and so now you see that this is 4.3 years, 23 grand of interest, and let's just go ahead and copy that information, right? And then we're going to go back, okay? So this might be a really short video today just because I'm going so quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and copy that. And so one of the things that we should do here is copy this interest, so 30 grand, right, plus 23.1K, so 23.1K, okay. And then how long did it take us to pay it off? About 4.3 years. And so now we got to sum up 30.5 plus 23.1. So that will be 53.6K and 4.3 years of interest, or 53.6K of interest and 4.3 years of time. And then we just do this right here. And then so for our mortgage, right? So mortgage, it took us 53.6K plus 4.3 years. And let's just kind of compare the results. So how much time and how much interest? So that would be 53.6 plus 21.5. So the interest is 75.1, right? Total interest, 75.1. Okay. Okay, and total time is 4.3 plus, actually it's just 7.3 because 36 is 3 years. So 7.3 years total time. Total time, right? And so now, okay, so we have the total interest and the total time, and let's compare it to this. Okay, so the interest, so the difference here in interest, so say difference, is 221 minus 75.1. Ooh, 145.9K. So I'll just say this, 145.9K, whoopsie, 45.9K down the toilet. Right? Oh, and then let's just do time, which is 109 divided by 12 minus 7.3. So that would be 1.78 years. 78 years. And so as you can see, not getting a first lien HELOC is a better option in this simulation because we wasted $149,000 or $45,000 just because that's what the internet says. So don't waste that amount. And hey, look, if you're gonna waste that amount, just give me the money. Literally, just give me the money and I'm gonna buy a Tesla. But if you want to get a first lien HELOC, then go for it, right? You ever notice that in certain other places in velocity banking, they talk about like when they get a first lien HELOC, um, paid off in about 12 to 16 years. And every time I do like one of these simulations, it's like including the mortgage, most things just get paid off in about 7 to 8 years. Not 7 to 8 years to pay off your mortgage, it's 7 to 8 years to pay off all your debt. And then I see like people calculating, well, it'll take you about 16 years to pay off your HELOC. And I'm just like, what is going on? You know what I mean? All right, well, that's it for today. This Korean Atlanta mentorship. So have a great day. And what else? Did I have anything else in my mind? Yeah, don't waste $145,000 by getting a first lien HELOC and replacing your mortgage, but pay off your mortgage first and then get a first lien HELOC and do what I did so you can get your own infinity gauntlet. All right, have a great day and we will speak next time. Also, I'm not a professional advisor, so don't take anything I say seriously. Okay? That's Mr. Garrison from South Park.